Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alien versus Predator Galaxy podcast and YouTube channel for another entry in our motion tracker series in which we talk about some of the latest news that has been going on in the Alien and Predator franchise. I'm regular host Aaron Percival, aka Corporal Hicks, and joining me is my usual partner in crime,
Adam Zeller, aka RidgeTop.
and we are joined by two special guests and frequent collaborators with us. We'll go with who we're going with first. We'll go with Kailem first. Welcome
That's
back,
me.
Kailem.
Hey, Kailem here. Thanks to be, or glad to be on the podcast again.
Not glad to be talking about what we're going to be talking about, but we'll get into that shortly. And rounding out our numbers is none other than SizzyBubbles. Welcome back, Sizzy.
Oh, thank you. I am very happy to be talking about what we're talking about.
Fight.
Very balanced. Yeah. No, very balanced. We like this.
Adam, what are we talking about?
So, we finally got official confirmation that Alien Earth has been renewed for Season 2. It was a little bit of a wait from the end of Season 1 before we found this out, and we were all kind of wondering if it would happen. But it seems like it has, because there was some reporting that Noah Hawley has struck a big deal with Disney to produce more series, including Alien Earth. So apparently they are starting filming in London of next year, during next year. And so I would imagine it'll probably come out in 2027. So that's a whole other topic, right? Of the whole, like, the time it takes between seasons these days. But honestly, not as much of a wait as I thought. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this series goes. I mean, season 1 ended on a cliffhanger, so it'll be nice to have some resolution to that plot thread. But we are here to talk about our hopes and fears for season 2.
And I'm trying to figure out how to share the news post, but I didn't turn on my other monitor before we started. Adam, is there an option for you to share your screen?
I can certainly try. 1 second.
Okay.
So, Alien Earth has officially been renewed for a second season. Alien Earth will be returning for another season. Dropping today from The Hollywood Reporter, Noah Hawley has reached a deal with Disney Entertainment and FX. Production on season 2 is expected to start next year and shoot primarily in London, a shift from the Thailand production of the first season. John Landgraf released a statement to THR. Quote, "It has been our great privilege to work with Noah for more than a decade on some of FX's best and biggest shows, and we are thrilled to extend our partnership well into the future." FX chairman John Landgraf said in a statement, "Noah never stops surprising us with truly original stories, and his unique ability to bring them to vibrant life as a director and producer as well as a writer makes him extraordinary. We can't wait to get to work on the next season of Alien Earth, as well as some equally exciting future projects in advanced development." Hawley also released a statement of his own on the renewal, saying, "I'm thrilled that this expanded deal opens the door to new opportunities across all of Disney Entertainment Television. FX has always supported bold, character-driven storytelling. From the beginning with Fargo, they've encouraged me to take creative risks and follow the story wherever it leads. I'm grateful to continue exploring the world of Alien Earth alongside our partners, cast, and crew as we begin the next chapter." Disney Television Studios president Eric Schreier also had this to say, "I learned firsthand that Noah was a unique talent while we worked on Fargo at FX. He has gone on to make many of the best shows in television, and I couldn't be more excited that Noah will continue his FX partnership and broaden it across Disney Entertainment Television." So they posted this little teaser video, their Instagram, officially confirming to their social media audience that season 2 is happening. And there you go.
So, where should we start this one off with? Sizzy, why don't you just give us a brief little rundown of where you were when season 1 sort of ended, your thoughts and feelings about Alien Earth when season 1 ended, and how you feel about this news.
Well, I was pretty bummed out about the season conclusion. Sorry to start off so negative. I really loved the show, but I definitely wasn't crazy about just the abrupt end and like kind of lack of proper conclusion and stuff. Felt too much like too much cliffhanger stuff, which I don't really like it when they do that in TV shows. So I was kind of hoping for more satisfying conclusion, but like still like the threads of the story can continue type thing. So hopefully they don't do that in the next season. They either start off with a bang and like keep that story going and then wrap it up all nice, or wrap it up but then continue to do a third season. One can hope.
And initial thoughts on the announcement? Was this a yes? Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. No, because I really did like the show, and even though it kind of bummed me out at the end, it kind of petered off for me. I'm kind of like, no, I do want more. Like overall, I had a lot of fun with it.
Okay. Stephen, Kailem,
Me.
please give us your take. And same setup, please. How did you feel about the show when season 1 ended, and how did you feel about the news?
I wasn't super satisfied with the finale either. I also definitely thought it was a bit abrupt, and I'm okay with cliffhangers, if it leaves you wanting more and it feels like what you've just seen was satisfying, and the cliffhanger makes sense and everything. Here it just kind of felt like this should have been the penultimate episode. This should have been a cliffhanger into the finale. So I definitely thought that the show started off stronger than it ended up. I enjoyed watching it overall, but then like the more I kind of thought back on it, I'm like, did I really enjoy it that much? I'm like, kind of. There's just some annoying stuff that I wish they'd changed, or had been better or whatever. And then yeah, when the second season was announced, I was kind of like, oh, because now it's like we're going to be getting more. But the worry is that now it sounds as though Noah Hawley's like actually reaching out to people and being like, "Hey,
Well,
do the stuff my show's been doing." And
let's talk
yeah,
about that later.
we'll leave that later. Yeah, okay. So I was kind of like, I would have been fine if the first season was all we got, to be honest. After that ending.
So no, not really excited on
Yeah,
Kailem's part at all.
not super excited, no.
Okay, Adam, where are you going to land in this spectrum?
So I'm glad we're seeing a season 2 ultimately, even though my feelings are very mixed as well. I mean, season 1, I started off really just loving it. By episode 4, I was like, okay, this is still good. Can we get this moving? Episode 5, I feel kind of turned me against the show. I just did not like that. And then really for the rest of the season, I was like, okay, we're still dragging our feet. We're not having any satisfying conclusion. Okay, well, that was a bit of a bummer. So it did feel like the show started off really big and then just kind of petered out, unfortunately, at season 1. Granted, I do love a lot of things about Alien Earth. I love the music, the score. I think the cast was great. There's some intriguing ideas and discussions at play there. Some plot threads I would like to see where they go. So ultimately, I am open to a season 2. I might not be quite as stoked as I was for season 1, but I'm definitely I'm glad it's happening, because I feel like with the Alien franchise, we have that huge cliffhanger at the end of Covenant that'll likely never get resolved at this point. So it's nice to not have another one of those. Although I do have my worries and concerns, as Stephen kind of alluded to a little bit, which I share. So I'm sure we'll get into that. But ultimately, I'm glad it's happening. I think if it would have ended with just one season, it would have, I don't know, that wouldn't have been a good note to leave it on, I think, just given the cliffhanger nature of it. There's definitely some changes I would like to see in season 2. But yeah, I'm glad it's happening, and I look forward to it. Maybe not quite as intensely as I was season 1, but I'm still looking forward to it.
So, sorry, just to deviate before I take my turn. Were you still excited for Alien Earth even after we'd read the scripts? And
Yeah, I knew it was going to be weird and it was going to be a big swing. So I had a little apprehension, maybe not quite as much as you. Um, But after seeing episode 1 at Comic-Con, I was really enthused with that, and then watching the first couple episodes at home, watching the first episode in the theater, I was on board with it. But I think it really wasn't too long. Well, halfway through the season, really, before it started to lose me, and then really lost me in the second half. Um, so that is unfortunate. But yeah, I was still looking forward to it. I was very excited for the show. I mean, they had a really strong marketing lead up too, so that helped to build hype for season 1. I mean, the elements we knew early, yeah, I was apprehensive about for sure. But I was willing to just kind of go with it, you know. Um, I don't know. I hope that answers your question.
So, if this hadn't have ended on a cliffhanger, I would have probably been more content to just leave it be as a contained season 1. I'm not, like I said when we were sort of wrapping up on Alien Earth, I didn't want to yuck people's yums because I knew there were people out there that were liking the show. It felt like we were very much outliers in that we as a podcast just did not seem to enjoy episode 5 the way a lot of the general audience and a lot of the Facebook audience and even the forum, I think our forum seemed to quite enjoy episode 5. So I felt a little out of a little out of touch with the community at that point. But I spent most of season 1 feeling quite ambivalent about the show. Episode 1 and 2, I was like, I really do not understand why this is getting the raving that it has been. I didn't understand Adam's enthusiasm for the series just off the first 2 episodes. 3 and 4 I actually quite enjoyed. 3 and 4 were when I thought, you know what, this is actually getting a little bit interesting. But then, yeah, like Adam, when episode 5 rolled around, I was like, this is awful. This is really budget Alien. Although it does have that episode does have my favorite shot of the alien out of the entire first season in it, which is when it comes down behind the captain. I selfishly am quite happy about season 2's announcement, if only for the fact that I seem to be the only person in existence that did not give a crap that it ended on a cliffhanger. Because I'm like, well, yeah, season 2 is an ongoing story, guys. It's going to get picked up. If a season 2 happens, and I was fairly confident that season 2 would happen, even if I wasn't necessarily the most thrilled with the show. So selfishly, I'm like, yeah, woo! But on the other hand, I'm like, do I really want? If this is going to be the quality of the back end of season 1, do I really want another season of this? Because I've been quite like Adam and I will get into a little bit of friendly tit and tat over AvP Annihilation. The anime that was made. And Adam's like, yeah, it's done, just release it. And I'm there like, no, it sounds awful. Keep it locked away. Why would we want to damage the brand like this? And I feel a little bit that way about the potential season 2 of Alien Earth. Sorry. So I continue to be at that point where I have neither strong feelings towards dislike or like of Alien Earth. It is not really elicited any strong reaction from it. I'm just like, yeah, this exists. It's mediocre. It's here.
But are you open to season 2? You're not opposed to it.
I'm not going to not watch it at the end of the day. It is an Alien thing. I like hearing other people's opinions on things, but I'm going to make my own. If it's coming out, I'm not going to wade into a conversation about it with being uninformed or anything like that. So I'm going to watch it. I hope it's good. I hope it's an improvement over season 1. But at the end of the day, season 1 was just mediocre to me. And I can't say I'm excited for season 2, but I also can't say I want to get rid of it. I know there's people out there who enjoyed it, and I'm glad that they get to see more of Noah Hawley's interpretation of Alien. I just hope personally for me, it course corrects a little bit and is actually, the alien shot well, the alien looks well, the stories go somewhere, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm neither excited nor not. However, let's talk about some hopes or fears that perhaps we're going to have over season 2. We'll start on a positive note. Adam, what are those things you would like to see in season 2?
So I would like to see, I guess, more time in a city, which I assume we're going to get with it being shot in London as opposed to Thailand. One of the things I liked about season 1 was what little we saw of kind of Morrow laying low in New Siam before he was just kind of off somewhere, and we didn't even really see how he left there. But I think it would be interesting to see the hybrids kind of on the run, in an urban setting. I think we spent a lot of time on that island, and even though I had wanted to see an alien in the jungle for a long time, and the show kind of gave me a little bit of that, and maybe I was hoping for more. I think at this point, another big switch of setting would benefit the show. I'm excited for more music. I thought Jeff Russo did an incredible job with the music. And even what rock songs they pick at the end of the episodes. I'm like, oh, it's always fun wondering, like, oh, what track are they going to do this week? So I think that's an element that maybe some fans are divided on, but I do think people find that fun. I mean, it was shot beautifully, season 1, so I assume that's going to continue with season 2. I would like to see more of the world they've created, kind of on a macro level. I mean, they've established this thing as its own kind of world with the corporations ruling the world. So we haven't really seen anything of the other big corporations they've established, like Dynamic, Lynch. Was it Threshold? Is another one. So let's see some more of that. Let's see some more of the inner workings of Weyland-Yutani. We spent a lot of time with Prodigy on season 1. But yeah, I expect to see I want to see the eyeball monster lead somewhere. I don't know if maybe that's a positive or not. Yeah, so ultimately I'm just excited to see where the story goes with these characters, because regardless of it being left a bit not quite satisfactory for me, I did find the characters interesting, and I want to see where it takes them next. They seem pretty confident at the end of season 1. What happens when that gets kind of torn away? If it gets torn away, or are they actually going to rule things for a bit? But given the change in filming location, I can't imagine they'll be on the island for too long. So yeah, I'm just curious to see more of this world that's been created here, and to follow these characters more, especially the dynamics between Morrow and Kirsch. I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see, I guess, just more of the dilemma with the hybrids, their existence that they're in. It seems Wendy's a little bit deeper into that than the rest of the Lost Boys with her identity. So really exploring those questions that have been established that were intriguing in season 1. I'm excited to see explored. I want more alien. I want more xenomorph. Maybe more than 2. So I would be excited to see that. So yeah, just I want to see where it goes. Really, I'm invested in the story and in the characters, regardless of the quibbles that I have. That's what I'm excited for, is to see where these characters go.
You really enjoy that word now, don't you?
Quibbles, yeah, I've taken that from you. Sorry.
Sizzy, how about yourself? Have you got anything to add to that shopping list? Oh, sorry, grocery list for you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm like very excited. I wrote some notes, so if I'm looking down, like, I apologize. But yeah, I think my main thing is like just they're kind of doing it in their own continuity. So I'm just like, just keep doing that. Like, don't try and be like, well, we got to make it like the other movies now or other alien things. And it's like, hey, you already went real hard with like what you're doing. Just do it. Just keep on doing it. Just do your own thing. Like, that's fine. I feel like it would be worse if they were like, oh yeah, no, we gotta have we gotta have elements from like the first movies in and all that. let's see what else I got here. I don't know what the point of the monsters was. So I don't know if that's going to go anywhere because it seemed like that was like a season 1 thing. Didn't really go anywhere for me. Aside from what's the eyeball guy going to do? Same thing. Like to see more with that. What else I got? Yeah, I like the music. I like the rock music at like the end. That was like really cool for me because I recognized a lot of the songs. So I kind of hope they just keep on doing that because it was just kind of a neat way to wrap like, oh, the episode's almost over, the music's starting, and it's like it was a nice like just like capped it off, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. Same thing with the staying on the island. I don't know how long that's going to be like sustainable. Like it's like, oh, is this like the kids Neverland Island or whatever? Like what's going to happen with all the guys that got locked up? Is there going to be like a big battle with Wayland Yutani? Like is there going to be a 2 separate thing where like the kids on the island and then like some other conflict in the main world? So I have like a lot of questions that I'm like very enthusiastic about to see where it goes.
Okay, so not frustrations on the hanging threads.
No, I do have frustrations, but I think it was a lot of it. I was more worried just with how streaming TV shows have been. I'm always worried that it's like even if a show does really good, it could be canceled after 1 season, and that just happens across all platforms. So it's kind of like, oh, well, that sucks, So I'm a little happier knowing that it's going to continue. Um, and I guess like the big thing is like, what are the aliens gonna do? Are there gonna be more aliens? This is an alien show. So like, is this alien gonna be your friend, or is there gonna be like a point where it turns?
That I think is probably, fuck it, we'll just encourage discussion here. That is probably the thing I'm most curious about season 2 is the direction they are going to take with. I nearly said Eloise then with Wendy and the alien relationship, because it was, it seemed like a very controversial element of the show. But it's like I've been saying recently, it's something that has existed in the franchise for a long time. Eloise being the main big one there. And they're obviously very different. Wendy and Eloise are very different. The setup's very different. Everything about it is, other than the concept, is very different. Eloise being a synthetic that's created utilizing the alien somehow. It's never fully explained, but she's part alien, so she's tapped into that biologically as you can do with the synthetics and the aliens themselves. But it was why I was always on board with the idea of her communicating with the aliens. But because it's so different and it being a different medium to the comics, it's like, does this necessarily work in this medium as a TV show? Is it to pet my friendly pet alien? What's the animated movie where they have a pet alien dog and it pees on Planet 10, Planet 11, something like that?
Elio
Which one?
or something?
The Predator?
Yeah. There is an animated kids sci-fi thing where
Lilo and Stitch?
I think you're muted, Sizzy.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of the movie, but it did have like the dog alien that like peed on a fire hydrant and it like melted.
Yeah.
That movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So that is the thing I wouldn't say hopeful about, but I'm most curious about. But my hope would be that it would take on a negative direction, where we start to realize that perhaps Wendy is misunderstanding this relationship that she's got going off there, because she ended season 1 on a very high horse, a very high horse. And it's always satisfying to see characters knocked off their high horse and recover from that. So that's the thing I'm most interested about in season 2, is just seeing how they handle that. And I just hope it goes in a negative way for her.
Planet 51 was that animated movie, by the way.
Thank you.
quick thing before, and then we'll let you get to your hopes for the season,
Well,
Stephen and
no,
Aaron.
I encourage us just to talk on that point at this point.
So
Perhaps a round robin of it was a bad idea.
you were saying, Aaron, that you weren't quite as bothered by the cliffhanger because you have a lot of experience with TV series growing up. I was always more of a movie guy, and I remember you telling me in Star Trek, the episode where Picard gets
The best of both worlds.
Right, where Picard gets what's the term for it?
Assimilated
Into the Borg collective. Thank you. That the next season literally started like a month after that.
It wasn't a month. It was like 4 months. But
Okay,
but back then it feels like there was a year between seasons.
Okay,
I did renegade on that when I looked into the release dates, and I was like, okay, fair enough.
Okay, so a little bit longer, but still not that long. And I think that was more common in TV back in the day. I think now TV production budgets have exploded. They become these kind of multi-year affairs. So there's a long wait typically between seasons, unless they're planned to be shot consecutively, which can happen sometimes. But with this, I think there's a way you can do it where the finale feels big and satisfying, but you still leave a lot of things open. Again, one of my favorite modern TV series that I've seen is Fallout, and I think that handled that really well. Big, impressive spectacle of a climax for the first season, but still left a lot of significant threads for season 2. And I think a lot of people, given how big Alien Earth started in season 1 with the ship crash and all that, were expecting something big. We get hints of it with Weyland Yutani landing their dropships to invade the island. And I really hope they don't pull a Resident Evil final chapter with that in season 2, where it's like, oh, here was this big battle, and now we just see the aftermath of it. And now we see little flashes of them fighting on the island, and now they're on the run or whatever, and we just totally skip over that climax that has been teased at the end of season 1. I think if season 2 starts off like that, I would immediately be against the show off the bat. So I do. To me, it's kind of like go big or go home, with season 2. We got the promise of that at the start of season 1, and there were too many episodes that felt like people were just staring at the walls in episode 1. So I think we need a bit more faster pacing, I would say, with season 2. But I think the cliffhanger, I mean, you can't deny there was a big audience drop off when that show started. The audience scores were higher than when the show ended. So people did feel unsatisfied. And part of that, yeah, maybe the modern TV landscape has changed. But yeah, I do hope that they have a more satisfying conclusion for season 2. And you can still leave things open to continue. It didn't really feel like anyone caught their end other than random soldier dudes in a significant way. Even when Isaac was killed, they were like, oh, can we bring him back? And yeah, that might be an interesting thing to continue in season 2.
No. Science.
Poor Arthur, but apparently Adam gives no shit over there.
Oh, right. Arthur, my bad. It's been a while since I've seen
forgot about that too. I was like, oh yeah, the eyeball thing.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting confrontation if his wife sees him as a zombie, So, yeah, Arthur was the main character that met his end, but it did feel like those stakes could have been maybe a little bit higher.
Stephen, would you like to go?
Okay. Yeah, so what on stuff I'm hopeful for in the second season?
You can do, or you can speak to one of the points these guys have raised.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with what Adam was just saying there. Like, sometimes in shows that have cliffhangers, you have the tendency to not immediately carry on from where it's left off. It's not something that always happens, but sometimes you do have the 4 months later, a year later kind of flash forward, or just flashing forward a little bit. And I could honestly see them the very first shots of season 2 being like, we see the island and we just see like burning Weyland-Yutani dropships and a bunch of dead soldiers, and they're like, whoa, that was a crazy battle, huh? Good job we've got these 2 aliens on our side. Okay, anyway, what do we want to do on this island? And then we're like, wait, what? We didn't even get to see it? So, yeah, I hope we actually... Because it seemed like, we literally saw the dropships flying over the island, so whatever plans Wendy has are going to have to be put on immediate hold, because it looks like Weyland-Yutani is like right there, and they're going to be landing, and there's going to be a big battle.
It would be
So
immensely dissatisfying if that did not get a big resolution.
yeah. Like I hope they, like Adam said, I hope they don't just skip over it and say like, wow, that was a crazy battle, huh? And we just don't get to see any of that and carry on like it didn't happen. Like you said, I also hope that we get more of the alien acting independently and not under Wendy's control, because I kind of like to imagine, like, I think in one of the interviews, Noah Hawley alluded to, like, Wendy thinking she's in more control of the alien than she actually is, and she thinks she's like, oh, it chose me, when really it's just like a quirk of her programming, and she's like tapped into whatever sort of communications wavelength the aliens have. So, but we didn't actually see anything in the show of the alien, not being under her control. Like, as far as just the show was concerned, it was completely doing her bidding, and it was completely obedient. There were never any signs of it going off, and doing something she didn't want it to do. So I hope we get a bit more of that, just bring back that element of danger where, it's the alien, it's supposed to be this deadly killing machine, and we've seen it being a deadly killing machine in the show, but have it be something where even the characters are like, uh-oh, we need to be afraid of this thing now because it's not doing what Wendy's telling it to do. Like you said, having her knocked off of her high horse a little bit might be good when she's like, screaming at her brother for basically temporarily incapacitating Nibs, who's starting to go on a killing spree. And it's like, I don't think you have the high ground there, girl. I'm sorry to say. So definitely a bit more of that would be good. Yeah, and like Adam said again, like, more stuff in the city would be nice. I think we spent a lot of time on the island over the course of the first season, so a change of setting would be nice.
I'd still love to see the island hived up, though.
Oh yeah,
as much as I enjoyed the moments of, I was going to say Steve then, but this one isn't Steve, is it? As much as I enjoyed the moments of the alien in the jungle attack that happened, I do want to see it alienified. I want to see the nature twisted around the alien and the hive resin and all that sort of stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah, I almost wonder if that might necessitate them staying on the island for a lot longer than, might be interesting, kind of thing. Like, because we would need probably at least a good few episodes of them still on the island, and even by then, like, even by the end of the first season, it was like, wow, they really blew all their budget on those first few episodes with the Prodigy City, didn't they? And now we're just kind of we're in the island, and that's going to be where the rest of the show is. And like, would that be kind of boring for the audience at that point? Would they just be like, come on, move it along, we've seen the jungle, like, before they kind of were able to get to the point where it got hived up?
No, that's a fair comment. It does sort of rely on how invested we are going to be in the drama that takes place, regardless of the action. Adam was going on about, I say that as if it's a bad thing there. Sorry. Adam was discussing the series ending on a bit of a whimper when it starts on a bang, but I think it ends on an action whimper, because I think there's a lot going off character and drama wise, to the point where I was like, I don't feel like it's ended on a whimper. Sure, there's been no explosions and spaceships crashing into things, but I feel like a lot happened in that last episode. I think I was probably the one who was, for somebody who was most ambivalent about the series throughout, I was the one that seemed to be most into the last episode when we recorded that.
I mean, there were things I liked about it. I mean, yes, the power dynamic has fundamentally changed. And I think it was interesting how the hybrids start the episode off in the cage, and then it's all the authority figures are in the cage at the end of the episode. The whole haunting aspect was interesting, and I did love the the jungle at night in the rain, seeing some of the overhead shots, the xenomorph just running around and offing people. I do wish we would have had more of that setting, given how rainy it is in Thailand. I just thought it was so cool to have this dark, spooky, rainy jungle, but we only really saw that in the last episode. And speaking to the alien hives, Aaron, yeah, that's something I would like to see as well. I mean, that region has such beautiful, like jungly looking caves, and we kind of had a shot of that in one of the trailers. And so it would be cool to see like a tropical cave all hived up, but it does make you wonder with the change of production how they're going to handle that transition, because Thailand has such a distinct vibe, and it was one of the things that was interesting, I think, about season one. How are they going to transition that to a completely different filming location like London and have it feel organic?
This is where that whole 4 months later thing does seem a little bit realistic as a possible narrative jump, and I feel for you guys if that does happen. Stephen, did you have any other points you wanted to bring up in terms of hopes?
I think it's too late to say cancellation, right? So,
Stop.
Stephen, the spiteful one here. Jesus.
And someone had to say it. No, and it was another thing that me and Adam were talking about the other night, but I kind of hope at this point, now that the ship has kind of sailed as to this being in continuity with the movies, that they just say, to hell with it. We are completely going to do our own thing. We are not going to be beholden to the continuity of the movies. We're just going to go off and do whatever. Like if that means doing like a Earth War, like super hive takeover, and it completely contradicts Alien and Aliens, then so be it. Because one of the fears that I had with it being renewed in the first place was that they tried to like crowbar it back into continuity with the new movies, and the more it goes on, the more likely. And we've heard with like Noah Hawley reaching out to Dan Trachtenberg and saying like, hey, maybe you should do stuff with Weyland-Yutani that I'm doing in the show. And I think the more they try and crowbar the show into continuity going forward with whatever we've got on the Alien and Predator side, the more it's just like going to be a mess. So they should just say to hell with it. This is completely separate. It's its own thing, and go nuts with that if you want to.
And others have already kind of recognized it as that. I mean, Aaron, recently I sent you this big Nerdist alien timeline video. It's over an hour long. Some issues with it, but it does establish like the Holly timeline. It's like, oh, this doesn't work with main continuity. So that's already kind of a discussion amongst fans. But I think general audiences will be kind of confused to some point if you bring this in with like some of the elements of Alien, like, oh, they're trying to reach out and get the Nostromo to land on this planet. I'm like, well, the xenomorphs are already on Earth. Like, why are they wanting to do that? So, and yeah, you do wonder how much it'll affect wider continuity, because Noah Hawley has definitely seemed pretty back and forth on that in a lot of the interviews, where more recently it seems like he wants to fit into the Alien film continuity. And if he's reaching out to Dan Trachtenberg, that leaves us to wonder, well, is that the origin of that light speed line in Predator Badlands or something like that? So I do worry. Alien Earth at this point has already charted its own course. It's like you had the opportunity to make it fit within mainline Alien continuity. You didn't do that. So don't try and, like you said, beat it into that now, Stephen. Like just chart your own course. And I hope that's what season 2 does.
Sizzy, do you have any, as the resident enthusiast, do you have any thoughts on the continuity thing?
Oh yeah, I agree that it should just be like, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't try and make it like, oh no, we need to make it, work with all the other media coming out and whatnot. And it's, yeah, I kind of wish at the beginning if there was like a little more care. I don't know if that's the right word, like gone into that, but it's kind of like, hey, you're doing your own thing, just keep on doing it. I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with the whole alien thing, like with like, oh, Hive, is there going to be more aliens? Like, how's that going to work? With the alien thing, I agree with you guys that I would like to see like I love Wendy's character, but I kind of would like to see the knocking down of her off her perch with her high horse with the alien maybe like not doing things she wants it to do. And it's like, if there are more aliens eventually, given there's other eggs and more delicious humans coming to the island, it's like, oh, is the alien gonna interact with these other aliens and then, be like, oh, I don't need to like listen to this other communicate to this other being anymore. I got these other aliens that I can go do alien things with. So I as much as like I was like weird about like the alien being like a friend, and I really liked her petting it, but I was also like, oh, I kind of like them just being this unpredictable kind of like killing machine, because it's like you never know what they're gonna do kind of situation.
I mean, it was an interesting aspect of Alien Resurrection having like Ripley embrace the xenomorph and that dynamic there. The thing I was always worried about when it started to become a thing near the end of season 1 is I don't want it to just be her issuing commands. And I have to suspect in season
Yeah.
2, it's going to go to a different level than that. I think they must know that if they just continue that, if she just waves her hand and the alien kills people for all of season 2, that people aren't going to be satisfied with that. If they do bring a queen into play, that could lead to an interesting power dynamic between Wendy and the queen in terms of controlling the aliens. I mean, we haven't seen the queen on screen for 20 years at this point, since the original AvP in 2004.
So members of our forums will have already seen us say this. But Adam, do we have anything to talk about or mention, should we say, about a queen?
So we can reveal that at some point during development for season 1 of Alien Earth, a queen was planned to end the season. There was a bit more of a plot thread going back to Prodigy City in New Siam, where one of the eggs essentially fell out of the ship and into this lower kind of massive storm drain area. And there was a maintenance worker that got infected with the alien, and later we see there's an alien queen in this kind of underground storm drain area under the city. So that was a plot point that at some point in development was planned for season 1. Obviously didn't end up happening, to my disappointment, because I was very looking forward to seeing the queen again. But hopefully we do see her in season 2.
So just to go back to the continuity thing, that is my biggest fear for season 2. I accepted that season 1 was its own thing. I accepted that the show and Noah Hawley didn't care about fitting into the existing continuity at that point, and I was fine. If that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. Go for it. If that means we could potentially get something like Steven said, like Earth Hive, Earth War, Female War, Outbreak, the amount of fucking names those storylines went through. If that means we get to see something like that, cool. I'm on board with that. I don't mind. I don't mind it. I've dealt with the existence of parallel continuities within Alien now. I'm on board with it. I really, 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 really hope that he does not try and cram it into the film continuity, because it can't work at this point. And we know that Fede had tried to reach out to the series, and the communication didn't happen. We now also know that communication has happened between him and Dan Trachtenberg, which is like Adam's, as Adam mentioned, probably where this ridiculous thing about humanity not having access to FTL comes from in Badlands. I don't know what's going on in their heads with that one, but
it's like, so Trachtenberg has said this takes place post-resurrection, right? And in Resurrection, they're literally going from unregulated space to Earth in the span of 2 days. Like, I don't care how flexible you are with your sci-fi universe rules, that ship is going faster than light. So,
well, and in Aliens, you got, we've lost contact with the colony on LV-426, and we see, we see Newt watching her dad get face hugged as a little girl, and then when the Marines show up, she's still a little girl. So if they didn't have FTL travel, she'd probably be an old woman or dead of old age by the time they got there.
You got a good point there.
And if you're nerdy like us, you look at the original sci-fi blueprints of the Nostromo, and it says the FTL
a
drive
Rolls
in the ship.
Royce. It's a
Yeah.
Rolls Royce FTL drive. So
let's get a few more consultants on board.
Yeah, or at least check Google, maybe. You know, like come on.
yeah, so that is my biggest fear for season 2 is that they do try and cram it in. Come on, keep it divorced, guys. Just embrace what you've started. You've already set down this path. Keep going. Don't ruin it for everybody else, because I think that was probably the main thing in Badlands that I was like, ugh.
It's so frustrating because it's just a little throwaway line, but you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But we know where it came from.
Yeah. Holy!
It seems like we're all on the same page about the continuity thing. Like,
yeah,
it seems like universal.
Again, it's frustrating because we've talked about this, Kailem, where it's like it really wouldn't have taken that many changes to make this work within Alien mainline continuity.
Yeah.
But you did what you did, and now just go with it. You know, don't be like, oh, people seem to care about this. I might as well make it work and fit it in with the Nostromo and all that. I just think it'll make the series feel a bit lost. If we stick with these characters, and if we see where their story goes and we focus on that, and maybe we go even harder into this not being part of mainline continuity, like you said, like with some sort of massive outbreak on Earth or something like that. I think it seems apparent we just have our 20th Century Studios film continuity, and then we have FX's Alien Earth continuity. But it's odd too. I mean, even with this Raid Shadow Legends thing, they're advertising Badlands and Alien Earth together, and it makes me wonder, like, what is going on here? Or maybe that's just nothing. But it does make you wonder.
It's the most recent Alien product. Is basically what I think it boils down to. That's why when we used to see book covers or when we used to see promotional art, it was just whatever the most recent Alien was. Generally speaking, I don't think there's more to it than that, but.
I kind of wish that all the directors, Dan Fede and Noah Hawley, had all kind of like been in communication and like talked, because I think that would have been like just really cute, because I thought like Dan and Fede like just kind of like showing up at different events and like, you know, it's like, oh, we're talking about stuff, and I was like, oh, so you that's like pretty cool, like you guys are like, hey, I like what you're doing, you know, kind of thing. And I kind of wish there had been that like that trio of them all just kind of like talking and, you know, hey, we're all doing these really awesome like Alien and Predator things, like let's all work together and make it really awesome, because they definitely seem to have a lot of passion for it, so I admire that.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, just having, you know, new Alien and Predator movies and shows being made, you would think, especially when they're clearly trying to have them all cross over at some point in the future into an Alien versus Predator thing finally, you would just think it would be common sense that they would all talk to each other and communicate. But it's like, no, FX is off here doing its own thing, and, you know, Fede's doing his own thing. And even though we've heard him trying to communicate with Noah Hawley and getting nowhere, and now Noah Hawley's reaching out to Dan Trachtenberg after the fact, and it's like, why didn't you just talk to begin with? Like, you knew that you were each working on these things. They weren't secrets.
It's the tricky thing with directors, I think, in working with franchises in particular, is that they have their creative vision. They want to leave their mark. And a lot of them are just not so concerned with fitting it in perfectly to these wider universes. Now, some things like Star Trek, it's kind of mandatory, and they seem to put more care into that sort of thing, even though they've had their slip ups there, I would say. But it's easier to hand wave that away with the time travel thing, I think. With Alien, yeah, I mean, we've seen that in the past with Alien 5 that almost happened with Neil Blomkamp. He wanted to just do his own vision and disregard some of the films, apparently. And it's a tricky thing with Alien, because I think someone with FX said this in an interview, like, oh, fans don't care as much about that stuff in Alien. And I'm like, well, they kind of do. They kind of do. And that's where they find themselves in a bit of a pickle here, I think, with some of what they've been saying in the latter interviews of the show, given just how many times they've been asked about where this fits within continuity.
And it just also comments like that, where it feels like they're not in touch with the fandom, are a little always concerning to me. Because when I read that comment, I was like, are you sure about that? But so be it. It's like we keep saying, you've made your bed, lie in it. So that's my biggest fear. Does anybody else have any particular fear that they want to get into?
I don't.
Okay.
No, my notes. I would like what's his name? Cameron Brown to come back as the alien, please. He's my favorite. Please come back. I love seeing you in Predator Badlands.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm looking forward to speaking.
I thought that was very, very adorable.
Fear of Cameron Brown not returning. Okay.
Fear of Cameron Brown not returning. Also, I apologize. I don't know the name of the stunt woman who did the juvenile alien, but I hope she comes back too, because I think that's really neat. Being a little juvenile alien played by a little stunt lady. Very cool. Fear of them not coming back. Irrational fear.
Okay, so hope / fear here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and for me as well here. Okay, the Tio Salas. I'm so glad that it taking over Arthur gives us a chance to see that actor again, whose name currently escapes me, and I do apologize because I really liked Arthur. He was the one genuine human character pretty much in the entire
He was like
show.
the heart he actually really cared. Yeah. And so it was tragic. I thought that was like, oh, that sucked. But also it's like, ooh, that is kind of good, because it's like, oh, the truly innocent person who cared, has something horrible happen to him.
Played by David Ristall, I believe. I hope I'm saying his last name right. But...
Is that right?
Yeah. David Ristall.
Okay, well, whatever.
I got the cast pulled up here, I think.
But again, that was sort of part of like the dramatic tension, the significant dramatic moments towards the end of the show that I was very on board with, was his death. Because that's the ethics and the morals gone. So who the fuck knows what's going to happen going forwards? But I really liked him as an actor. So him being the zombie was sort of pleasing to me, because it meant he still gets to eat and earn and pay his bills.
I think he needs to be more than a zombie, though, and that was one of the most frustrating things about the TL Celeste is you're constantly hinting how smart this thing is. We've really seen none of that, so I think that needs to lead somewhere. Honestly, with the other creatures, like they made such a big deal about these 5 alien species. With the other 3, it's like we can just maybe forget about them. Like I don't think they did anything particularly interesting.
That's also my other point. Was where I was going to go with this. Was in episode 5, the Tio Salas was a disappointment when it took over that engineer, because he was literally just a zombie making noises. What's the film with the kid who points and it's just a screech that comes out of their mouth? Whatever, one of the Invasion
of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. So I hope they do something genuinely interesting with the Tio Salas and with Arthur in season 2. I don't want it to be just that screechy noise. I want to see, like Adam says, a demonstration of that intelligence that this show has been bigging up so long. I'm all for misdirection and misunderstanding, such as Wendy with her communication with the aliens, but I do not want this to be Boy Cavalier just completely misunderstanding the Tio Salas and it being an absolute damp squib of a plot line. I really want to see something interesting with that happen here. So that is my fear / hope of season 2 there.
Let's talk about one hot topic, the design of the xenomorph, which has proven to be a little divisive.
Oh no.
Let's start with you, Sizzy, because I know you're a fan of this design. I am also a fan of this design.
Yeah.
I do enjoy Steve. I think Steve is a good design. I think everyone else is wrong.
Caelim's very handsome. Look at him.
I've learned how to draw him very well. I will,
But tell us, Sizzy, do you want just the same design to return for this alien, or would you like to see any tweaks?
Oh yeah, like I like the Steve design, like, is that what we're calling him, or like the big xenomorph, whatever, alien, or whatever you want to call him. But Yeah, I like him. They'll probably just end up reusing the mold or the suit for the next season just for budgetary reasons, but that works for me. And they made that really impressive like head animatronic too. So I mean, for practicality, I don't see why they wouldn't just reuse it. But yeah, I hope that big adult alien comes back. And I do like the juvenile alien too that she made friends with that has like a bit of a different face. So I'm rooting for that design. I don't think everybody agrees with me.
I think
Kailem looks like he really wants to say something.
I mostly agree with you. I do think they'll have Weta return again for budgetary reasons. They've already worked with this crew. Weta's coming back, but they must have seen some of the feedback. Even in some of the posts they've done on social media, you can see when they share their work on Alien, they get a lot of unfortunate comments, I would say. I always liked Steve. I know a lot of people thought that the second Alien, the juvenile one with the white splotches, like the face looked better. I thought it looked more off. I thought the mouth looked like too swept back, and I thought Steve was better. It's interesting. We have another juvenile alien now at the end of the season, a very small alien. So I'm curious if that'll
What's gonna happen with that?
Yeah, the Steve design, or maybe that'll end up being a queen, and it would be cool to see a queen in Weta's style. I think Weta killed it on the facehuggers too. It was interesting to see them do a more traditional facehugger after they did the a bit more unique and darker looking facehugger for Romulus. So it's nice that they got to do two different iterations here. I thought the chest burster, was that done by Second Skin?
So there was a practical stand-in by Second Skin for the face for the chest burster. Whether Weta Digital did the chest burster, I'm not sure. But just to Adam's point there, I think that is one of my favorite chest bursters.
Yeah.
Alien Earth's interpretation of the chest burster. I think that's one of my favorite from the entire franchise.
So I feel like I don't think you can fully change the design because that would feel too off from one to the next. And I was talking to Stephen about this last night too. I think with Alien movies, each film feels a bit more significantly different, and enough time has passed that people understand like the alien design for that movie is going to be the director's unique vision. But with Alien Earth,
the films always has a narrative reason for it as well, though.
For the differing designs?
Well, other than Aliens, the rest of the films all have a narrative reason for it.
Not AvP.
Okay, other than AvP. But okay, yeah, fair.
Not Alien Earth.
Well, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien Covenant, the mainline Alien films, they have narrative reasons for it.
True, but I think that's more just fan wank. I think it's the directors working with us.
That is not fan wank.
They're not thinking about that. It's a director working with a new creature effects studio and thinking, how do I do my own unique alien?
Adam, you are chatting absolute bullshit there. I'm sorry, but you are. All of them had narrative reasons that were mentioned in all the behind-the-scenes stuff about why they were making changes. Alien 3 is the dog. It's the DNA reflex. Alien Resurrection is the genetic mix-up with Ripley. Alien Covenant is it's supposed to be a progenitor towards the alien as we see it. All of those have been mentioned in the behind-the-scenes stuff by the people that work on those films. So
okay, I guess there's some justification for it. Sometimes it is just budget, like we saw in AvP. And
AvP is budget.
It's a director saying, I like the way the ridge-headed aliens look. Same like James Cameron. I don't want the dome to break. There you go. That's our reason. And so I don't think it's solely that. I think it's the director and the creature design team want something that looks like their alien. And I think they think it's less interesting if they just make a one-to-one big chap again. Sometimes it's cool to see. I thought in Predators, like when they had the classic Hunter back, that was cool to see. They still made it a little distinct with the cracked mask and all that. But I think ultimately it's more interesting to have something that looks a little different. Now, granted, from, again, what we're talking about, season 1, season 2, I think it's going to remain mostly the same. But I could see them doing little tweaks for feedback. Again, pointing to Raid Shadow Legends, it was interesting seeing these artists' interpretations, I guess, of the Earth design and the Badlands design. And a lot of people were praising this Earth design, which still maintained some of the elements, brought back the rib cage a little bit, rearranged the facial structure a little bit. Still had the shorter smokestacks, which I'm okay with. So I think you could do it where it feels like the same, but have some little tweaks. Maybe listening to some of the feedback a bit. I still want it to feel like the aliens we saw in season 1. Just make some minor adjustments is what I would hope for.
At the end of the day, Steve is dead. You know, within the narrative of the show, Steve is
No,
dead. So
he's rotting, dude.
yeah,
Like,
they've left him on a crate somewhere inside Neverland. I think they. Well, no, they couldn't have heard changes, but there was a lot of criticism of that design during the promotional lead up to the show. Whether that meant some of the digital stuff got changed, shrug of shoulders, I don't know. But I absolutely preferred the interpretation going on in the second half of the show. I think Steve is fucking hideous. Those, like, sometimes in the promo material it looked good. The initial stuff didn't. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But in the show, it does not look good. Steve does not, to me, sorry, Steve is not a good design, and I don't like it. And I don't like the appearance of the mouth and everything like that. What's the feminine of Steve? Stephanie. Stephanie in the back end of the show looks a lot better, in my opinion, and I certainly want to see them follow that interpretation there going forwards. Even the mottled look of it in the jungly bits, I was quite taken with, and I quite liked. So please make changes. People are very vocal about this one, I think, and it is unfortunate the way people conduct themselves when interacting directly on their Facebook, which is disappointing to see. But I think it's very obvious that a lot of people don't like it, and yeah, give me. It doesn't have to be Big Chap. It doesn't have to be Big Chap all over again. You know, even Scorched and his brothers weren't Big Chap 1-to-1 in Romulus, but it was still a step in that legacy direction. And a lot of people really like Scorched and the other designs in that film. So just, I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily say, you know, please give me that, because the crustacean-y kind of thing is interesting, perhaps. It's just the face that I have a problem with. It is just that mouth and that face that I just can't stand with Steve. I just want them to fix that. Yeah, that's me. Stephen, sorry, do you have anything to say about your brother?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I was not a fan of mostly the mouth. Again, it was like it felt like you could fit another mouth above the mouth and between the dome. It was just so. It was like that bit. It kept reminding me of the bit in Army of Darkness where Ash gets the wrong Necronomicon and he gets sucked into the book, and he comes out and his mouth is like, and it just. I was like, oh no! Like, what if the why did someone leave a heater on in like the you know in the costume shop and just melt the face when they were making this guy? It just looks so droopy. But yeah, everything else is I don't mind so much, like the chest being more like cockroachy instead of a rib cage. It's like I'm okay with those kind of changes, but yeah, I also much preferred the second alien that we got in the show to the design of Steve. So I would hope that they would go off of something that looked like that rather than, at least face-wise, rather than what we got there. If and when they introduce any new aliens, and I mean, I guess they'll have to at least at some point have the adult version of this second one, the former chestburster that we saw at the very end of the show. So yeah,
Arthur's child, Arthur's son,
yeah,
or daughter.
yeah. So yes, no more droopy mouths, please.
It really was not that pronounced to me. Like, it was a bit
also
lower
don't see
than we
the buck
typically.
teeth in AVPR.
I do. I like my horse teeth aliens from AVPR. Sue me.
Okay, well that makes the opinion even fucking worse.
I would take that giant overbite over the huge droopy mouth any day.
To
be fair, I think I would take AVPR's aliens over Steve.
Oof. Yeah. See, people are rough on Steve, man. I always thought Steve looked cool, especially seeing the life size ones in person at some of those experiences. I think it's an overall really solid design, but I have to understand, yeah, people have their gripes about this design, and I think you could maintain it while making some of those little tweaks that you guys are talking about, the position of the mouth being the most prominent one.
Yeah, no, I like how the juvenile or the smaller alien. I like its design too, and honestly, I was kind of impressed because I thought they would just like reuse the big alien suit. So, I mean, props to them for being like, "Oh, we're going to make a different looking alien in the same like season." And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like, is there a point to this? Like, is this alien different somehow, or is it just kind of like we're switching it up a bit type thing?" Because it did have that kind of molted color too. So I don't know if that's because it was like shedding or growing or whatnot. I'm assuming I've seen people call it the juvenile online. So I'm assuming, oh, maybe it's going to get bigger or maybe it is kind of runty. But
Well, even the
yeah,
older version was more mottled, wasn't it?
yeah,
I kind of wonder if that is, a whole thing about the alien designs as well, or the color palettes of them throughout the main lines has always been about them matching the palettes of the environment that they're in. So I kind of have to wonder if perhaps that was an intentional design consideration on Weta's part or Noah Hawley's part, whatever, to make them kind of jungle-ish,
Well,
jungle-esque.
going to what you said, Aaron, about like story reasons for designs, I do wonder if that was an element here because it grows out of a lung instead of a full living body. So
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if maybe it's malformed because we see it as a chest burster. It has like black and white splotches. And then we see the juvenile chest burster come out of Arthur later, which looks like normal chest burster. Right. So I do think maybe there's a bit of malformed elements going on here because of how its embryo developed.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think we all sort of maybe have said that when we were doing the episode reviews, but question mark. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about with this, or do you think we're wrappy-uppy-timey?
When do we think this is going to land? I mean, if they do end up shooting next year, we'll see if there's a delay on that. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time for the series. Romulus sequel has been delayed. That was originally reported on shooting late this fall. So I do wonder if they'll hit this in the spring. And if they do, I have to imagine it comes sometime in 2027, maybe in the spring or summer, as opposed to the fall that season 1 did.
Yeah, maybe mid 2027.
Yeah,
sounds
likely.
If it's over here, maybe we could go see the sets. Maybe this is finally the time we get on the set of one of the productions, and it's Alien Earth. God.
Yeah, I'll be like, they made me come.
What about you, Stephen? Any final thoughts or considerations?
No,
Any comments on the release date?
Like mid 2027 sounds likely, like you said, because obviously or maybe late 2027. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on, like you were saying about, Weta coming back. I'm sure they've got a lot of stuff in place already that this will probably and not, fingers crossed, no COVID too impacting the production of this one. So I'm sure they'll be able to get it out a lot quicker than they did the first season. And yeah, I mean, now that it's coming, I just hope it's good. I hope they improve on the things that weren't so hot in the first season and just let it be its own thing. Don't try and hammer it into continuity with the movies.
Sizzy, final thoughts, final comments on release?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. I wish it was sooner rather than later, but that's just how TV shows are nowadays. Same thing, keep doing your own thing. Don't try and like shoehorn continuity in there. Like I think we're kind of like we've already done that. Like with that car left already, So just like, hey, do it. I really like the style. It's very pretty. Like just keep doing that. I like the alien design. Don't change it.
Ignore her. Ignore them both.
No, I did want to say like those poor like Weta creature designers. I know some people online were being very stinky with them in the comments, and I just want them to know they did a great job, and keep doing it. Like, hope to see more from you guys. I think you guys did a great job. If they watch this,
It's been cool to see them more involved in the franchises, both with Badlands now, with Alien Earth, and
their work on Badlands has been phenomenal.
Yeah, and a bit with Romulus as well with those facehuggers. So I've definitely been impressed by their work, and I would love to see them continue doing creature effects moving forward. I also really love Legacy Effects work for Romulus, so I'm excited to hopefully see them come back for the sequel as well. So it's been cool to see these creature effect studios, because it's one of the elements I always love about these things. Seeing a bit more of a collaboration between multiple studios in recent years, I've really liked. If it's between Weta and Second Skin, or Legacy and Weta and Studio Gillis, that's been cool to see. Taking these people that have these experience with these franchises, and studios that maybe have wanted to do these and have like veterans that have done these way in the past, getting to do them again. So yeah, I also really think Weta's work was great in both Badlands and Alien Earth, and I'm looking forward to assuming their return for season 2.
Not to beat a dead horse, but yeah, please do take on our criticisms, though. of that face, because
Don't listen to it. It's my turn now. Yeah, quiet.
The fans have their thoughts about the Alien and Predator mouths.
Yeah.
Gosh,
those,
no.
those mandibles, I really liked the mandibles in Badlands. I thought it was nice to actually get them closed in that exposition again. I was so impressed with Deg's face in Badlands. It was ridiculously good. Anyway, final thoughts from myself. I think I've been fairly clear with what I want to see from season 2, what I don't want to see from season 2. We haven't really talked about the character stuff, but I will be very curious to see the direction that they go with the Lost Boys and them actually coming to terms with the situation that they're in. The cast was fantastic at what they were doing, even if it was the element I was most concerned about prior to watching the show. This was the thing that I was most worried about, was the cast's ability to do these kids in an adult body and how weird it would feel. But no, really, I thought it was really well done for the most part. I think there were some uncomfortable moments, but was that the point? Was it supposed to be uncomfortable? Shrugging my shoulders, I don't know, but yeah, I would be glad to see the cast back, and I'll be interested to see what direction they take that on, because it's an interesting ethical and moral question, and I'm curious to see where they go. I will watch it. Hopefully, it's good. Like Caleb says, hopefully it's good. As fans, we're only allowed to do two things, and that is to blindly hate something, or just blindly love something because yay, new product, or we have to hate it because boo, it's not the old product. Yes, I'm taking the piss there, but I'm not gonna say I'm jaded lately, but I hope it's good, and I hope it's interesting. I hope it's done well. This will probably be the last chance they get from me if they do go on to do a season 3.
If season 2 doesn't do it for you, you're like, okay, I'm out. Like,
yeah. Or maybe I'll hate watch season 3. I don't know. Or maybe I'll be like Kailem, maybe like, I hope this does not get renewed, and protect the brand the same way I do over AvP Annihilation. I don't know, but I'm going to give season 2 a go. I'll give it an honest go, and hopefully they are on the up. But they have an uphill battle to fight for me personally, and I think for most of us, perhaps other than Sizzy. But
I do wonder if they're going to do the same kind of marketing blitzkrieg they did for season 1, or if they just kind of did that because it was a new show, and because that was a cool element. Just everything. It was nice to see them do significant things on the website again, because I go back to like when we were all hyping AvP and they had the website you could go to. There were all these cool features. Like they don't really do that for movies and shows a lot these days anymore. And with Alien Earth, I mean, just go to the official FX website. There's so much cool stuff there. So them really doing that, having the accompanying podcast, I do wonder if we'll see the same extent of all that with season 2. But I hope we do, because seeing them go into those extra elements, the behind the scenes, the development of the world they put together, that was a cool lead up to the series, and something we could dig into once we started watching the series. So,
and much needed, since they won't let anybody talk to us after the fact.
Yep. We tried to get some interviews, folks.
Yeah, for you guys and girls out there that like the show, I was like, Adam, we need to try and talk to some people, but no, FX won't let people talk to us. Well, or I assume many other podcasts, unless they were involved in the initial press junket. But yeah, it was a good way to actually get that information. Anyway, Adam, where can people find us online?
So if you'd like to see more of what we do and keep up with the news of the franchises, check out our website, avpgalaxy.net. We are also on all the major social channels: Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and now TikTok. If you'd like to support what we do at AVP Galaxy, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/AVP Galaxy. Big thank you to those of us who do support us on Patreon. We very
Those
much
of us
appreciate
that
it.
do support us.
I'm sorry, I haven't had enough coffee apparently. Those who do support us on Patreon, we very much appreciate it. We are looking into getting more consistent podcasts out for our Patreon exclusive podcast,
We do
Genetic
have
Memory.
one. We
We have one we're
scheduled
about
in.
to record. It's been a very busy year, but we have more perks in the works. But you get a nice little badge on our website, and you get to listen to these things live. So we do have some extra little bits you get for supporting us, and we are developing better little rewards for that. So again, that is a thing. But thank you for watching or listening.
And before we go as well, if you haven't already, I recently released a script to screen on Alien Romulus, detailing the sort of more significant or more interesting changes between the earlier scripts of Romulus and the finished product. So head on over to YouTube, go give that video a watch. Head on over to the website, give it a read if you'd rather read. And we are in the midst of sort of scheduling in a bunch of interviews with people who worked on Badlands. Hopefully that comes to fruition over the next couple of months. So keep an eye out for those. Adam, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Speaking of the script to screen, we do have some Alien Earth ones in the works for that as well. So keep an eye out for that.
And a Badland script as well. So we've got stuff coming. We just need to give us a chance to write script to screen so we don't get ripped off by all the vultures online. But yes, thank you everybody for listening or watching. This has been Corporal Hicks.
RidgeTop.
Kailem.
Sizzy.
Signing off.